What's up, everyone? August 17th. I'm still nursing a birthday hangover. Already have a drink for myself, ready to talk some ball. It's been a few days. Had to bring on my friend Sam Wagman. Sam, what's up?
I'm doing well. It's look, it's the weekend. Golf's on, so it's the weekend, right? That's the rule.
That's the rule. Once it's Thursday, golf is on, weekend time. That's what we're drinking. No one can tell me what I can and cannot do.
Absolutely. And it was also your birthday yesterday. So, you know, it's a very good reason to drink. Plus, you know, we have the NFL season, the Eagles play tonight, and it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good Thursday.
On the game tonight at all?
I have not bet anything on the game yet. I don't make a habit out of betting on preseason. Typically preseason DFS, if anything, but I'm not good at that. I let the true degenerates go handle the preseason DFS.
Yeah, I'll just keep donating to golf every week. Did you have anyone other than Hovland on your? Who else did you have this week?
I do. I actually have Matt Fitzpatrick.
I do too this week.
Both first round leader and outright. So currently requesting everyone else to just go away. I have Cameron Young, who's also doing very well so far. I got
Saturday.
Cam will do terrible tomorrow. So at least I have that though. And then the typical Corey Connors outright for me.
Can't get away.
Xander as well, and Sung Jae.
Cool. All right, we'll talk some football because that's what everyone is here for. Before we go through some of these NFC East, yes, guys, it's my show, so I am going to keep talking about the NFC East and the Giants probably more than I should be, but Stephie Smalls show, so I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. Let's talk about a player from each of these teams that we are drafting. So I'll let you start with the Eagles, who is like, no matter what, you only get to pick one. Who are you drafting?
No matter what, who am I drafting? It's got to be DeVonta Smith this year. Because, it's very simple. At cost, I want, both A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith are top tier, wide receiver one caliber type players. But DeVonta Smith down the stretch, he was putting up the same numbers, and in some cases, he was putting up better numbers than A.J. Brown down the stretch. And look, I think the Eagles are going to have to pass even more this year than they did last year. And they were extremely efficient last year, but they pretty much laid off the gas in the entire second half of the season. But DeVonta Smith really starting to come into his own. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL, in my opinion. And while AJ is still probably one of the top 5 most explosive guys out there, I think DeVonta is just going to be very, very solid all the way through. And he's really starting to come into his own. And, I love both these guys, but give me DeVonta at their cost.
I'm with you on that. I think that they're one of the teams where it's more of this 1A, 1B scenario than people like to realize. And you're getting him at nice value. I'm pretty sure he finished wide receiver 10 last year. He was at least around there. I like that call. I'm with you. Also, if you're watching, hit the like button, subscribe. Producer Ryan won't yell at me later. And we'll keep boosting that subscriber number. But I'm with you on that. I think it's going to be interesting to see how that backfield plays out. I think that there's probably some value in taking those guys that slip in best ball, like a Gainwell, who seems to be picking up some steam. I don't know that I'm totally convinced with some of the reports that have been coming out. So I think if I'm going to go anywhere, it's going to be DeVonta Smith. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Who are you drafting? I bet I know who, but I
mean, we have to draft Tony Pollard, don't we? We have to. Like, he's fit. He's you ever see that there was a funny video of Phil Mickelson, and I forget which commercial it was for. It was years ago, and he was like diving, like dip dodging and diving golf balls all over the places. And I forget what song it was. So it was a really, really corny video that he did. And he's just like dodging all the golf balls coming at him. That's what Tony Pollard's doing. He's basically matrixing his way out of any issue that could have come. Ezekiel Elliott has signed. Kareem Hunt doesn't seem to be interested in the Cowboys. Doesn't seem like Leonard Fournette's interested there, as far as we know right now. So
they don't want to be Cowboys. I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either. So until someone signs there, and I do still think someone's going to sign there, until someone does, Pollard has to be in that conversation. He's definitely crept up really high. I think he's probably being drafted around his ceiling right now. He's being drafted around the end of the first round. He's in the 202, 203 range right now. I think that's probably about his ceiling where I'd be comfortable drafting him. He definitely has RB1 overall upside, though. We're talking about a guy that was super efficient last year, completely made the Cowboys run at a different engine than when Zeke was on the field. Mm-hmm. So, if they're going to have success, it's probably going to be behind him this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Question. Would you take either of those top tier rookie RBs over Tony? So Gibbs or Bijan? Are you taking either of those guys ahead of him?
Ahead of Pollard?
Yeah.
I'm taking Bijan ahead of him. Bijan to me is just a unicorn. He can do really anything. I don't think no matter what Arthur Smith has said about the hot hand and Tyler Algier, and I love Tyler Algier, so that's a really tough pill for me to swallow. But I don't think they're drafting Bijan at 8 and switching people onto their offensive line as they do without a hardcore plan in place to really just run the crap out of the ball. And I think even if Tyler Algier is 150 carries, I think this is a backfield you could see have 350 to 375 plus carries in it.
Yeah, they love to collect unicorns over there. Hopefully it goes better for Bijan.
And I love Gibbs. I love Gibbs, but he has 80 catch upside, but he's my RB 14, I think.
Really? Quite low on him there. I'm a little bit higher on him. I think that he is going to be used, kind of that Eckler CMC a lot in that receiving game, especially now, poor Jameson Williams, but like it's starting to get scary. Like, you see these guys start to fall down this like injury. Now it's the gambling and you start getting nervous. I have way too much exposure on him. So for the sake of all of my teams, I hope that he ends up being fine.
I do love Gibbs. I think, and I personally think 14 is a really good spot for him. I think we struggle, with not knocking guys too far up.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a jam in that range with, Mixon and Najee and Ramondre at 11, 12, and 13.
Right.
So, he's right behind them because they have, pretty much locked in workloads. We don't really know exactly what his workload is going to look like. If it turns out to be Alvin Kamara in his rookie year, we're golden.
Right.
But if it turns out to be a little bit less than that, I think 14 is probably a good spot for him.
Yeah, fair. I also like Brandon Cooks. I also like throwing some darts in best ball on those like random tight ends that they have there. They'll definitely you'll see me doing some first touchdowns with those guys. But how about the Giants? Be nice. Since it is my show.
So I'm not gonna say everything I have to say on the Giants because I have a couple props I really like that we can talk about in a little bit. I don't think, I think there's a chance that this Giants offense looks like a low calorie version of the Chiefs where everything's run through Darren Waller and the wide receivers are pretty much, meaningless. Obviously as far as running backs go, it's not the same, but as far as the passing game go, I think it could look something like that. I think Daboll seen the Chiefs enough to kind of know that that's a reliable model of consistency for your offense if you don't have, a lot of talent at the wide receiver position. And I really don't think they have, anything more than a handful of guys on there. And then you have Darren Waller, who legitimately has 150 target upside in an offense that's tailored around him. So I really like him in that aspect. If you're asking me to pick some guy that I really kind of have found myself on that I didn't expect myself to. It's probably Slayton in the last round of drafts. I mean, of all these guys, he's the one that has the most familiarity with the offense. He's the one that's proven to be their downfield threat at times, in past seasons. So, he's a nice round 18 best ball target.
Yeah, I'm starting to not be in love with Waller's. Like, there's not a lot of value left on him.
It's really starting to get up into that 5th round. Yeah.
And I think once redraft season starts, we're going to see his ADP fly up. I won't talk too much about him because I have a bet on him that we can talk about a little bit later. But I do love stacking him with Daniel Jones. I still think Daniel Jones's upside is people are not paying attention to it. He's going too late. He has that mobility. Now he has actual weapons. We know he is a good deep ball passer, whether you like him or not. His O-line should be somewhat improved this year. He has, a new guy. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting my own player? JMS under at center there. Yes. So I like stacking them. And then in best ball, taking some darts on a Sterling Shepard, on a Darius Slayton, even Paris Campbell. There's Isaiah Hodgins, whoever kind of falls to me. I'll take a few of those guys towards the end, but let's go Commanders. Where are you at there?
Oh, again, I can't say too much because I have to save him for when we talk about props.
I bet we have the same freaking prop. Who?
Probably. I'll probably go with Antonio Gibson as the guy I can't stop drafting. He's currently my most drafted player that I've taken on Underdog. I think I'm at 28% on him through about 130 drafts. So I really love what he brings to this offense. And this is going to be my third year in a row of getting hurt on him. I remember a few years ago, myself and Victoria, we convinced ourselves that Antonio Gibson was the next coming.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it hasn't worked out too well in our favor. But here we are again, going back to the well for the third season in a row. I don't know. I view this backfield as one that is split directly down the middle. We could see Gibson get thrust into that J.D. McKissick / Jerick McKinnon style role in Eric Bieniemy's new offense. And Brian Robinson strikes me as a guy who's not going to see any passing work, but is going to get 200 to 250 carries, and he'll get all the goal line work, and that's completely fine with me. But Gibson getting all the high value touches, it could, if anything happens to Robinson, I think Gibson gets set up for a really nice role there.
Yeah, I am with you on that, and I think Gibson's another one that I've seen his ADP start creeping up a little bit. So I think people are starting to be back in on him. If you were one of the psychos like us and you've been drafting for a long time, you used to get some really nice value on him. But I'm with you. I think that Gibson, things got a little weird last year. The Commanders are an interesting team. We're going to talk about them in a second, but I really like Jahan Dotson. And I'll lead this into my first prop for, the NFC East here. He's going at wide receiver 38. I think his upside is very, very high. I like his over, and it's going to be heavy over. I'm usually an under person. I know that it's not as smart to take these overs, but over 4.5 touchdowns at plus money is beautiful. I think what's baked into this is Sam Howell. We've seen that they have a very nice connection with training camp. We don't put all of our eggs in one basket because of training camp, but last year, 35 receptions for over 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. I mean, even if he gets 2 less touchdowns than last year, he's still going over this number. So I'm in on Dotson. I think he's a little bit underrated. And Sam Howell, while I'm not a big Sam Howell person, I think Sam Howell will probably end up surprising people a little bit. And he's going to have really good games. Like, I think it's going to be very intermittent with him. It's going to be his success is going to wax and wane a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. I love Dotson as a guy, you can add to your team. It's like a wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4. And he really makes a lot of sense there. Might as well lead into my first prop as well. I went with Terry McLaurin. An over prop there. And I really love Terry McLaurin. I've been in on him nearly every season since his rookie year. And it kind of surprised me when I saw that his receiving yards prop is only set at 900.5 since he's been over that in all 4 seasons, including his rookie season. I mean, listen to this. He's played with Taylor Heineke. He's played with Carson Wentz. He's played with Kyle Allen. He's played with Alex Smith. He's played with Dwayne Haskins. He's played with Case Keenum. Like, these are not These are guys
are in such quarterback hell. Like, they should have never moved on from Kirk. It's hilarious that they did. Honestly, they could have had themselves a very nice starter for years to come had they just kept him there. If I'm the Commanders and things don't look so good as the season starts, I'm putting my eyes on a quarterback in the draft. I'm going to try to solve the problem. I've said it on the show before. I think that Riverboat Ron over there is maybe on the hot seat now that they have new management. I think that they're, nice enough and everyone respects him enough that they won't fire him in season. But he might be looking at losing his job there as the head coach. But I do like McLaurin quite a bit. I think all of this is baked into like Howell's success. Who's our backup there right now?
The backup's Jacoby Brissett. I'm fine with both of them.
He can win games. I'm actually more worried for him to come in if I'm a Commanders fan, because at that point, Jacoby's a very serviceable backup quarterback. He's one of the better ones in the league. I
think if you want to get fun, you can bet Riverboat Ron to lose his job. I think it's 9-1. He can be the first one to lose his job. I think if you want to get fun there, I think McLaurin is just a great bet for me because he's a very good deep threat. I mean, he ranked 4th in the NFL and with 29 deep targets last season. I mean, And he's just the wide receiver 1 for this team. With Howell last year in his only start, McLaurin had 3 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. And that was going against Trevon Diggs, who Cowboys fans are convinced is the best cornerback in the NFL. So, McLaurin to me strikes me as a guy that is perennially underrated. He's just a very solid route runner, and I think he's going to do great this year.
You know what it is that, what was it, 2 summers ago when everyone got psychotic about McLaurin? Like his ADP was as high as like wide receiver 6.
I do remember that.
And at that point, I was like, I can't do it. Like, there's no way I can take this guy, especially with all their quarterback qualms and whatever is going. He got so hyped up, and it's unfortunate because he is another one of those guys that is so talented. But every year, you can't always find the value on him in fantasy anymore because people are trying to get that, season that they were so hoped for a couple years ago that he did not get.
Yeah, absolutely there.
All right, hit me with another one. What you got?
All right. So let's move over to the other side of the division a little bit. Let's go. Let's hop on back to the Giants.
Okay.
And I do actually think we might have the same Giants prop that we love. It's Darren Waller over 4.5 touchdowns
every day.
And again, it goes back to the fact that the Giants did not have a suitable red zone program before Dable showed up in town. Once Dable shows up in town, that red zone percentage, which was at like 29th or 28th, jumps to the top quadrant of the league. And so with that, you obviously need red zone weapons, and Darren Waller comes along. And in Darren Waller's last healthy season, why don't you tell me who led the NFL in both deep targets and red zone targets among tight ends?
Mr. Daddy Daniel Jones.
Well, no, Darren Waller did.
Yes,
tight ends.
Darren Waller. I thought you were talking about red zone. Sorry. That's me. I got so excited to say it.
But no. Darren Waller did lead the NFL in both deep targets and red zone attempts among tight ends.
Yes.
So I really love him there. I mean, and even in 9 games last year, he still had 13 deep targets, which ranked 13th among tight ends in that time frame, and he had 10 red zone targets. I mean, this is a team that sorely needs big guys to help in the red zone, because other than that, they really only have Saquon. They don't really have any wide receivers that can play, the X receiver in the red zone role that I think Waller will end up playing. So I'm going to look for Waller to be a huge presence there and really put up some scoring for them.
Well, where I thought you were going with that before my brain started moving too fast is the New York Giants were the 4th best goal line offense. And Daniel had the 3rd best completion percentage on throws into the end zone, only behind Tua and Dak, actually. Like, he's very good when you get down that field, and also a great deep ball passer, but that's another chat for another day. I just think you look at this team, the best, I've said it once, I'll keep saying it, the best player that, that he has thrown the ball to outside of Saquon, which is different conversation, is fucking Golden Tate. And we're not talking Golden Tate, prime Golden Tate. Like, we're talking a different Golden Tate than the Golden Tate we like to remember. So this gives Daniel like the opportunity to have a true who ultimately, like, he's obviously their number 1 target. He's actually going to play it's going to be a wide receiver 1 type fit. I think that people, even in drafts, taking Kittle before Waller, you look at the last 3 seasons, Waller has played 2 less games than Kittle. Like, there's a lot of, I think everyone's really nervous about the injuries, and I get it. But at the same time, even if he gives the Giants 12 games, he's going well over this number. I don't know. Is it still at plus money or has it moved? I think I got it at plus 110. I'm not sure if it moved though.
I took it at plus 110. I'm not really sure where it is now. I didn't see it on the board when I looked earlier. It might have been taken off the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was at plus 110 when it was originally sent to me, and I took it right away because it does. Someone's got to catch touchdown passes in that offense, and I was afraid to take Daniel Jones over 16.5 because I'm a little bit further away from Daniel Jones than I am to other pieces, and that's how I'm choosing to attack this passing offense.
And I think that's the right way to go about it. I also don't hate Waller's over receiving yards. I think they're sitting at 700.5. That's at plus money too. I took Daniel over the 16.5. I cap off my Giants betting to a certain extent. I don't like having too much money on them, but
very smart.
I think there's an argument to be, it's, do some happy hedging during the year. But I think that there is something to be said about what Dable has done to this team when it comes to the red zone. Like they were literally rated 32nd in every single statistic in the red zone. And then Dable comes in, they're 11th, 5th. Like we're talking the top part of the NFL. So I think you get a true guy like Waller in there, and it's going to be very nice. I'm very excited.
Yeah,
that maybe
absolutely
torment your Eagles a little bit. Stay in some games for once.
I am very curious to see where you go in terms of the Eagles. But for me, I know I said everything about DeVonta Smith earlier in the show, but I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to pick A.J. Brown to go over 1,050 receiving yards. And I know it strikes me that I took all overs during this. I promise that's not the way that you win.
Numbers, though, it's hard.
Yeah, it's not the way you're supposed to win. But I did get a lot of early lines here. Some of these are lines that I've just had for months at this point.
Yeah.
Over 1,050.5 yards for A.J. Brown was it didn't make any sense to me from the start. This is a guy, he had 1,500 yards last year. So I tried to dig into the numbers a little bit and tried to poke some holes in this because, you know, if a book is down 450 yards on a guy, you know, that is the, you know, wide receiver one and one of the best offenses in the league. And, you know, everything kind of says this team's going to have to pass more this season. Why are they so down on it? And I eventually came to the simple point is they expect AJ to kind of regress to the mean a little bit. And I truthfully don't know if they're correct in saying that because the system he came from in Tennessee versus the system he comes to in Philadelphia are just two drastically different systems where he's the true focal point of that offense. In Tennessee, it was always Derrick Henry. And A.J. Brown, you know, he struggled with injuries there. I think the books are definitely baking, you know, some injury risk. Again, I don't believe in players being injury prone. I believe that when players are put in good situations with good teams that, you know, they'll be fine for the most part. And A.J. plays through a lot of his injuries anyways. So I'm not too worried about that. So eventually I settled on the over here because it just makes sense. Top 10 target share in the league at 29%. 40% air yard share, which ranked 5th in the league. And the Eagles are just going to have to throw more this season. So, you know, I'm not saying he's necessarily going to get to 1,500 yards again. I think he was extremely efficient. The downfield passing game was extremely efficient. I think teams will work to scheme against that a little bit more. But I do think AJ is going to have at least 1,250 yards this season.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you said you think the Eagles are going to have to pass more. I very much agree with you. Where did you look at Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown number? Very interesting, 10.5. I see the argument for taking the under there. Like, do you think that he rushes a little bit less? Because you have to have, I think the league is also realizing, well, you know, mobile quarterbacks are all the rave and that's what everyone wants, but you got to keep these guys healthy at the same time. So you have to limit some of that risk there. So do you think that there is a chance that he does go under that number?
I think there's a correlation here to draw to. It's an if-then thing. And the if-then is if Rashad Penny / another running back breaks out in a big way, then we will see Jalen Hurts rush less. But if they have to run him, I think they've shown that they will run him. And, you know, Jalen had so many rushing touchdowns. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 7,
I think it's
10, 13. 13 rushing touchdowns last year. And they obviously didn't outlaw the lack of a better term, the tush play.
Yeah.
They're not outlawing that.
Booty cleats. We can say whatever we want on this show.
Miles Sanders is gone. They don't have, Rashad Penny's brand new. And Kenny Gainwell and DeAndre Swift are not goal line backs. So someone has to be the engine of a top 3 rushing offense in the league. Yeah. And they're definitely going to utilize the elite offensive line. So I have a little bit of a hang up there. When lines start to go above 10.5, I think I would probably lean towards the under there because there's a lot of ways the under can hit. So I do see that being a possibility, and I do see them having to pass more as, possibly a big catalyst there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't find myself taking the over there, but I'm not sure I'm ready to take the under on that just yet.
Fair. Okay. I'm with you. And, death taxes and Boston Scott scoring against the Giants always. And forever. He is absolutely tormenting us. I just want to see him not score against us in one game this year. That's like my only fucking request for the season. What are you feeling about? We'll move on from the Eagles, but before we do, what are you feeling about this Eagles 11.5 win total?
So I do have
money. So, which is interesting to me. What the fuck are the books doing? Kind of.
They're definitely trying to get us to bet it. This is a kind of bet, where, you're definitely going to see a lot of public money on the over as we typically do of win totals with it. It's funny. I had this exact conversation with Ben Heisler on his show about the Chiefs a few weeks ago. Same number. And I'm going to say the same thing as I did there. I see a lot more ways that this total goes under than I do that it goes over. Basically, it's everything breaking right once again. Meanwhile, there are so many ways. This is why I typically don't bet win totals, because there are so many ways that they can get screwed up in every single direction. From the littlest thing, a scheme not breaking right, a coach not being right, the new offensive coordinator not being.
You guys had changes
correct.
Too. Yeah.
The quarterback not playing the same as last year, teams scheming differently against you. New additions not working out, a revamped defense not working out. There's so many things that can be screwed up on a win total bet that I just choose to typically stay away from them. What's the under at, like, juice wise?
It's a great question. Let me pull it up here.
Probably like minus like 120.
Probably. I think so. I know the over is plus 110. Let's see. Why don't the Eagles pull up? They have like every fucking team. Boston College Eagles. What the hell is going on here? Let's see. I'll get it in a sec. All right, right here. Let's see. We got minus 130.
Okay, yeah. So the books feel the same way.
Yeah.
Typically, this is a spot where I would just roll with the books, knowing how these work, because these are spots where books are gonna take a lot of value.
Oh, yeah.
Is these public win totals, for public teams like the Chiefs, the Eagles. I think books will probably clean up on Vikings fans that think their team was a lot better than they were last year. So I think there's a lot of reasons to bet this under. So that's if I had to bet it, that's probably what I would go with.
Interesting. That's very unbiased of you, Sam.
Also, there's some voodoo in the fact that no sane team has won the NFC East.
I'm going to be honest though. Where are you at with that? Because I think it's going to keep.
I think it ends this year personally. I personally do, but I also thought it would end in 2011 with the Dream Team. So
yeah. It's something weird always happens with the East. I love that people think that the Giants are going to come in fourth, which is like lovely. I think that they will surprise people. They're going to struggle. They have a really tough start to the season where I think the Eagles have it kind of light. I was listening to the sports gambling podcast, and I think you can get like plus 500 on them going 5-0 or something in the beginning, which I really like that number. Yeah.
I took the Saints to be the last undefeated team in the NFL last week. It's a very, very sadistic bet, but
the Saints are a defense that I actually am cool with in fantasy. Their schedule is lovely. So if you take a defense late, if you play in a league that still has a defense, some people do, some people don't. I like having the defense in there. I think it keeps things interesting. You can also bet. I think you could bet Eagles if we do a homer bet, you could do Eagles, Giants, first, second place, like plus 380 or something. I don't hate.
I actually think I saw that this morning at plus 550.
Did you?
I'm going to DraftKings right now because I looked at it. It was something I looked at. The exacta is first Eagles first, Giants second, plus 650. On DraftKings.
I might put a little money on it for you coming on the show, and if we win, then I'll send you some cash. Since you got me a birthday present and gave it to me in Canton, which was awesome. But let's talk about Washington.
Yeah.
Give me your general thoughts on Washington here.
Well, I already told you there's a decent chance, I think Ron Rivera gets fired first.
Yeah.
It's pretty much between him and Josh McDaniels right now in my head. The second thing I think about the Commanders is that Eric Bieniemy's scheme is very intriguing to me because it doesn't seem like players are taking to it that well so far in camp. And I don't know if that's just training camp things, but there's always so much dysfunction around the Commanders that there's much more smoke than fire there. I like the team for fantasy, in terms of the fact that I think there's a lot of fantasy friendly guys, and they're all going late enough to the fact where, there's a lot of buy-in intrigue there. Yeah. But I do think this is a rebuilding team that doesn't have a large future with the current setup that they have. I think there's a very good chance they're looking for a quarterback high in the draft next year. I think I think they'll be doing it with a new coach and a new GM. So I think Harris is going to completely clean house after this season. Mm-hmm. I think he's given everything 1 year to settle in the dust, and he's going to completely clean house. I think a lot of the players that we know on the Commanders could be going after.
And I thought they were going to do this a couple of years ago and try to trade up and get their guy. I thought they were going to kind of go for like a Mac Jones or one of those guys. And then they ended up, what year was it? They made the playoffs in that game, and they're going to probably screw themselves again this season. But I think that over 6.5, like I'm staying far away from that. They kind of remind me of Tampa in the way that like they might get to, halfway through the season and just keep their eyes on the prize. They have very cheap, nothing, no stock in these guys that they have at quarterback. So if you get to a spot, you could just be like, time to clean house. The NFC East is getting very strong. Like everyone, the Giants are getting better year after year. After next year, they won't be in cap hell with some of these lovely contracts that Dave left for us. The Eagles are the Eagles. They're going to be dominant for a very long time. And then you have Dallas, Dallas does the same Dallas thing almost every year. But the Commanders it's going to switch a little bit here, where I think the Commanders are going to find themselves, with their pants down while the NFC East is starting to get better. So I kind of lean on that under, probably staying away from it in general. I'll ask you one last thing before I let you get out of here. Philly, since you're a Philly fan, they're plus 800 to win the Super Bowl, plus 330 to win the NFC, minus 110 to win the East. We'll throw their win total in there. I know we just talked about it. You said you kind of like the under, but what are those is there any of those that you would place money on?
So I've already placed money on 2 of them.
The Super Bowl.
I already have the Super Bowl, and I already have them to win the NFC.
Yeah, I like that number quite a bit. I think to come in as the number 1 seed too, that number was nice as well. But I think the plus 330, I think I could get behind that.
I think when you're looking at the Eagles, you have to take into account who's around them. And to me, the only true contender against the Eagles is the 49ers from a public perspective. I think there are plenty of dark horse teams. I think the Seahawks are probably the biggest dark horse team that people haven't started to talk about enough. And I really loved talking about it. I got in a huge discussion with someone at the sports betting panel in Canton over the weekend when I said the Seahawks are going to not only win their division, not only win the NFC, but they could also win the Super Bowl. And Ryan Kramer was like, just very, very taken aback there.
He wasn't a fan of the take.
He was very taken aback. I think I got myself labeled a Geno Smith homer for that one. It's not a misnomer, but I think the Eagles are just such a well put together team. They don't have the quarterback questions that the 49ers have. Yeah. They don't have just the head coach and Dak questions that the Cowboys have. Yeah. They don't have the questions that anybody in the NFC North has.
Right.
So I think the Eagles just on paper right now, obviously, no plan survives first contact, but I think right now as it stands, you're getting 3.5 to 1 for the Eagles to repeat as NFC champs in a year where all the pressure's on them and they know that it's pretty much Super Bowl or bust right now. I think I could see them going right back to it. And, even as no team that has lost in the Super Bowl has made it back. I believe that's the stat. It sounds pretty fatalistic when I say it, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
No, something along those lines.
Yes, it is something along those lines. So that, I don't really buy into that. I think the Eagles are just a very special team, very well put together. I think the team got better And, I don't think that's something a lot of teams can say. So I'm going to roll with them as far as they'll take me. They're my boys. They'll let me down at some point. Hopefully it's not this year.
Yeah, honestly, you just reminded me I want to bet Seattle to win the West as well. I think that, Carroll is going to do his thing, maybe one last hurrah here. I think that, we'll see how it goes, but maybe depending on how well they do, we maybe see him.
I have legitimately had that bet since February.
Yeah.
What 4.5 to 1. 4.5 to 1.
Did? Fuck, it's at plus 230 now. I told you.
Yeah, it's way down.
A lot is on Geno, though. Like, a lot is going to be on Geno. I do think he regresses. We saw it towards the end of last season, not looking so great. But I've taken up enough of your time. Tell everyone where they can find you, what you're working on, what's going on. Hopefully we hit a golf bet here.
Yep. You guys can find me on Twitter at Swagman95. As everyone calls me, they call me the man of swag for some odd reason.
You are.
But I do everything over at the Game Day and Football Guys. But 90% of my content this season will be over at the Game Day. We'll be doing podcasts every week, Twitter Spaces every week, articles, analysis, all kinds of both fantasy football and betting stuff over there. You can find it 5 days a week at thegameday.com. And got a lot of stuff over there planned for this year.
Love it. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for my birthday gift. Cheers to you. Hopefully the Giants get one win against the Eagles.
I hope they don't.
See ya. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye. Now it's time for producer Ryan to join. Look at your background. Hey. It's lovely right now.
I know. Okay, I need some backlighting, but I'm also waiting for maybe the Stephie Smalls show neon sign.
Yes, that's what's
to put back there. We need to both get the neon signs.
Yeah, it's time.
But as you can tell, I've gone all in on our new black and white theme. We've landed on the colors, and it also makes sense for me because due to my age, I was a huge ska fan back in the day. I've even wearing a ska shirt here.
I don't even know what that is, Rye.
I know. I'm gonna have to educate you one day and the loveliness of ska. But it was a big checkerboard themed, as you can tell. I had to make my casita sound better so I had to like insulate the walls a little bit. So I bought
that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you sound okay. Yeah. Maybe you sound a little hollow today. Are you not on are you on a different mic or not wearing headphones?
I didn't wear headphones because you didn't ask me, so I forgot.
It was my bad. You're right.
It's not your fault. If you are still watching right now, subscribe, like it. We are going to be in Vegas next week. If you are going to be going for the Ultimate Contest weekend, we will be on Radio Row. I'm also drafting with Full Time Fantasy. Come check us out. We're going to have like a table with a bunch of maybe some goodies to give away. We'll talk more about it probably next week on Monday. New show schedule too. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All Giants games we're going to be streaming unless I'm attending one. That obviously will not work.
Yes. And I wanted to ask, what did Sam get you for a birthday gift?
Here I am chatting like everyone knows. He got me covers, New York Giants covers for my woods, or like I call them club condoms. I got that from my uncle. He'll be like, take your condom off. I'm like, what are you fucking saying? And why are we saying this out loud at a nice course right now? Yeah, I'll take my so I call them my club condoms. But yes, he got me one for all my woods. Excited. He was like, I need to give these to you to get Giant shit out of my house.
That is very nice of him. Still not Buddha Smalls.
No. And then my other girlfriend got me, you can see my light. I got to figure that out. But Victor Cruz signed a picture. She knows nothing about sports. I guess her fiance gave her 2 guys that he thought would be good. I have no Victor Cruz stuff. And apparently we did win this game. One of my followers actually knew exactly what game it was. It was in 2012. We won 27-23, I believe, in October. So
Victor Cruz swag. Wow. I mean, who?
That's a true friend.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah.
A true friend. Yeah. But I mean, going for the Victor Cruz swag, that's a little bit of digging a little deep there.
Yeah. Really.
Nowadays.
I like it though. He went to UMass, not far from where I grew up. So very nice. But we have some questions that we can start.
We do have some questions. Let's get into it. Tyler Soto says he's going to Vegas this weekend. Who should I bet on for the NFL MVP? And I did pull up the odds, the current odds I can read off. But just off the top, who would you? I mean, you could say Daddy Jones, but that's pretty obvious for you. Who are you really betting for NFL MVP?
I'm not as psychotic as Kramer is when it comes to the Daddy Jones love here. I do love him very dearly, but will he get an MVP? Maybe. I don't know about next year, though. Right off the top, I bet this guy last year. MVP, we've seen a lot of repeat winners. That happens very often. I'm cool with running it back with Lamar Jackson one last time. I probably will never bet him again if he were not to win, but I think that the value there at 16-1 is very nice.
Yeah, I'm seeing a 16-1 at FanDuel. Most other places have it at 14-1, but that seems like a great bet.
Yeah, good enough.
Any other names you're looking at? Maybe like Dak, or I mean, you could go a long shot. No,
I mean, it's a little bit too much of a long shot, and then it goes again. Here's the thing. I think the Cowboys are losing in the playoffs next year. The Cowboys are going to be interesting to see how that rolls. Josh Allen's kind of interesting, plus 850. But maybe what's Joe Burrow at these days?
Burrow is at plus 700, plus 600.
See 750. Is it DraftKings?
750 on DraftKings, yeah.
I could get behind the Joe Burrow, but I really like Lamar Jackson. I think that we need to see how people forget that he's removed from this MVP season. If we get a healthy Lamar Jackson, there's no reason that this team can't win their division and he can't win MVP.
Yeah. All right. Next question. If Anthony Richardson doesn't make it to the NFL, does he have a career in the rap game? And guess what?
We have
a clip.
Love it.
To be the greatest. I know my time coming, so I gotta stay patient. I love my brothers, cause all of us really be stepping. Never took an L, everything was a lesson. Gotta thank God, cause he keep giving us the blessings. Wake up in the morning and all we ain't stressing.
Listen, it's better than Kadarius Toney, that's for fucking sure.
It's fire, yeah.
Better than Cole Beasley. That's not bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how many tracks he has, but he might I might be a listener of his here soon. I'm excited to see Anthony Richardson in all seriousness. Like, it's going to be a fun season. I think there is a chance that the Colts, there's a path to them coming last in that division. But yeah, I would actually listen to that rap, but I have a bizarre taste in music. So outside of Smalls, yeah.
Yeah, Biggie Smalls. All right, here we go. Next question. Who are the top 5 daddies in half-point PPR 16-team redraft? This is from Nikki the Good.
Nikki the Good is one of my favorite people on Twitter. Also, a fellow Giants fan, producer over at Barstool. Really hilarious. If you guys don't follow him, I recommend you follow him because he cracks me up. Listen, I think that going and getting I'm trying to pull up ADP. Let's see what things look. People still play half PPR. That's something. I don't know if I've done that in a while. You've got it. I go receiver here. Obviously, the Jefferson's still going to be my 101. He was my 101 last year. I don't think there's any reason to pivot off of him. I think that Addison only helps being there. I think that they drafted him, get some attention off Jefferson, leave him wide open there, which will rarely happen. But Jefferson always, you go Chase. Starting to get a little nervous about Kupp. A little bit nervous about Kupp. I think I would put him, for me personally, I just think that the Rams might get to a spot similar to I've talked about the Bucs, the Commanders. Like, they might get to a situation where it's like, what the fuck is going on right now? It's going to depend on Stafford health. So the upside is there. There's no reason to not take him. I'm big on Tyreek. A little bit nervous that they just had an O-lineman go down. I hope Tua stays upright and doesn't get a concussion. Diggs and Josh Allen seem like they have a little bit of marital problems, but you really can't go wrong with any of these guys. If you're on the back end, I really like taking Garrett Wilson too. Like, I'm higher on him than I thought I would be. I just took him in a 12 team. I think that league might be half PPR. I got him in around the turn from the 11th spot. I took Saquon, Garrett Wilson. So Garrett Wilson will probably be there on the back end. So I like Garrett Wilson. Can't go wrong with Davante Adams. He's still one of the best receivers in the league.
I was gonna shout out Davante Adams because I noticed Establish the Run, whose rankings I usually are married to when I'm drafting. They have him higher than a lot of other people. So I mean, where are you? Would you put him in your top 5?
I would still put him in my top 5. You can't, like, he's like Cup, where everything is there, the talent is there. You can't really get by it. And Adams is always going to demand targets. It doesn't really matter who's throwing him the ball. He's the guy that's going to make those plays. So I think I would put him in my top 5.
So you got Jefferson, Chase, Tyreek. Are you dropping Cup out of your top 5?
It's really
got to drop somebody.
All right, I'll drop Wilson out. I think that, you go top 5 in the beginning. If you're drafting in the end, Garrett is definitely going to be on there. But yeah, let's go. We'll go Jefferson, Chase. I'll put DeVonta there, honestly. I still think that he is, the guy that he has been. Like, Jimmy G doesn't really scare me, although it's a little bit weird. And then I'll put Hill. Oh, there's CD too. You can't really go wrong with any of those top receivers, I feel like. They're all in really good spots. So I'll go DeVonta and
you're
Cup.
you're dropping Diggs out of there because of the marital problems with Josh Allen.
Yeah. The Bills make me nervous. I'm a little bit more nervous. I like James Cook, but I'm a little nervous about the Bills this year. I don't know. My gut doesn't like it.
All right. Question number 4 from Eric Gilbert. Season division winners for every division in the NFL. This is one that you really wanted to talk about. Make sure to get this in there.
I want to piss people off is what I want to do.
Oh, here we go. All right. You got a hot take.
We don't have too many hot takes, but yeah, let's do it. Where do you want to start? The AFC or the NFC?
Let's start with the NFC. Well, let's just start with your NFC East. We might as well keep that theme going.
Okay. I will take the Eagles. They will break that curse. No one has won back-to-back since in 2003, 2004. Eagles repeated. I don't know, somewhere around there, but it's been a very long time. And I think it's going to be situational as far as who comes in second, but I think the Commanders finish in last in that division.
All right. Let's go to the North.
The North. God, the North. My Lions neighbors are starting to really piss me off.
Yeah, you've talked about them before. Because you live in Michigan, they're all your neighbors are all in on the Lions, which they haven't had a long history of being able to crow about their team.
Yeah. Well, they should thank me. Since I moved here to Michigan, they've gotten better. I've attended maybe 4 Lions games. They're 4-0 with me in attendance. So if you want to send me to a Lions game and you're a Lions fan, just buy me my ticket, send it my way, and I will head to the game as long as the Giants aren't on. I think there's value on taking the Vikings, to be honest. I think people are writing them off a little bit too soon. I will go Lions for right now. Hopefully, no one from my Vikings friends are watching, but I am still high on the Vikings. I just think that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if your neighbors here, they know where you live, so it's smart to take the Lions right now.
I got a creepy neighbor situation going on, so we can't be pissing anyone off.
Okay, let's go over to my NFC West. For those who don't know, I'm a Cardinals fan. I wouldn't be picking them, but I was born and raised in Arizona. It's not my fault.
Yeah, I am still the safe answer here is the 49ers. I know everyone really likes to take the Rams. I think the Cardinals are going to win more games than people think. To me, they're that team that every year everyone is so low on. They smash their under for their win total, which what are they at? 5.5, 4.5?
4.5. I mean, I already smashed the over.
Yeah, 5 games, especially in that division where wonky stuff happens. I don't think that they could end up finishing 3rd if the Rams totally Stafford gets hurt and it turns into a disaster. But I'm going to go San Francisco. But like I said, when Sam was on, I think there's a lot of value in taking that Seahawks team.
Yep. All right. Let's go over the AFC West.
This gets fun. Okay. West, it's going to be the Chiefs for me. Chargers have themselves a schedule that makes things a little bit interesting. I just don't think the Chargers can get the job done. I think that the Chargers do make the playoffs, though.
Oh, and I messed up. NFC South. I missed that one. before we jump over.
Mad. God. All right. I bet the Falcons, like, as soon as those numbers came out, I'm going to run with it. Everyone knows that watches. I'm much lower on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and everyone else. Saints, interesting number. But I think that it'll be a toss-up between Panthers and Saints, who comes in that second and third. I think the Falcons, people don't realize the Falcons are another team that they spent so much money, and they're showing that they want to win now. They've got, I think Heineke is their backup too. If Ritter doesn't play out, Heineke can win games, and they have so much talent there. Their secondary is much better than people give them credit for also. So I'm going to ride with the Falcons on this one, and the bet I placed,
you're going with, they're at plus 210, I'm seeing.
I got a little bit better odds than that. I have to look back at this. That was probably one of my first bets.
All right. And so so we already said the Chiefs in the AFC West. Let's go ahead and just keep this going with the AFC South.
I kind of want to do something spicy here.
That's you were saying you were going to do some spicy stuff. You haven't really said anything that spicy yet.
I like the Titans to win. I know everyone's on the Jags. I think the Jags can go back to the playoffs, and that's fine. But I think the Titans are a little bit underrated. They have Vrabel there. This is one of those divisions. I think it's still a little bit up for grabs more than people realize. I know Anthony Richardson, everyone thinks is like basically Jesus reincarnated himself, but there's going to be issues over.
We heard him rap.
Yeah, I mean, he has
Jesus was a big rapper.
Fergie and Jesus, that's his voice. Was that from Step Brothers? I am not one to bet against Vrabel. Do I think that they're going to get absolutely spanked in the playoffs? Yeah, I do. But I think that they can win enough. I have to look at their schedule. But before even looking at it, I think Jacksonville and they can both get into the playoffs. But a little bit worried about some of the Jags' depth. I don't know what the Titans' schedule is. I haven't even looked. Jeez. You were so still for a second. I thought your camera froze. So
I was waiting for you.
Saints. Who are they got? Okay. Browns, Chargers, Bengals. Their schedule's not as easy as I would have hoped for. I don't know, though. It's kind of an easy schedule. I'm going to take the Titans. We'll get spicy with this one. Again, probably more value there. I like with these NFL futures to find the value on these teams.
I mean, they're at plus 310 to win the division.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is the favorite in that division. So they have the second lowest odds there.
This probably won't be a division that I'm placing like my own money on by any means, but I do. I kind of like the Texans on their win total over, but that's for another show.
All right. We've got the AFC North now.
Okay. God, Lamar, you got to stay healthy. I am going, if I want to be spicy, I say the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Bengals, though. I think that this is this is going to be a very good year for them. I think they actually don't start slow like they have in the past. I think they really hit the ground running.
All right. That is another favorite at plus 150. And then finally, your AFC East winner.
I have them to not make the playoffs, but after, watching some Hard Knocks, I'm buying into a little bit of the hype. I will take the New York Jets, our roommates, to win the division.
All right. At plus 250. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're buying in. I mean, I buy in on the Hard Knocks hype every year, and it usually burns me, though.
God, Aaron Rodgers going up to like his old coaches calling him a bitch. Like that was hilarious. Like he's way more likable outside of, unless you're his family member, because he hasn't talked to his family since who knows when. His brother won the Bachelorette one year. Even I actually watched that season. It was very funny. They talked about Aaron a little bit at some point. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to have to find that clip and post it, actually. Maybe I can bring the hype back down. I'm worried about Miami. Like, they just had that injury. This whole division, I'm worried about the O-line. I think that the Jets O-line is not as good as people are making it out to be. So Patriots are not winning this division. I can tell you that much.
I feel like if we should make a bet right now, you and I, that if the Jets win the division, we have to go on an ayahuasca journey.
Okay. Deal. Do we have
You don't have to sound excited about.
I know we are doing it. That's fine. I don't know if we can live stream it though. That seems like
we're not going to live stream it.
No, that sounds. Or we go into darkness for a while. Is that what he did? Yeah, we could do a darkness retreat.
Darkness retreat sounds way worse than doing an ayahuasca. Sounds fun, despite the vomiting, excessive vomiting, which we wouldn't be able to live stream for that reason. Yeah, but
I will. All
right.
You can hold my hair while I vomit the entire. The one question I have, I didn't post this on Twitter, but it's my show, so we can see it. I just want to know, like, did he jerk off while he was in there? Like, was that something that what do you do in darkness for that long? I have so many questions.
I mean, I feel like that would have been one of the first things he did.
Yeah.
Was jerk
off. Yeah. For clarity.
But he came out, he ended the darkness retreat early. Maybe it was because his dick hurt. Because he was jerking off so much. Maybe
that's why. Yeah. He was running out of, that could be absolutely possible. I see someone did say the Browns. I'm not ready to accept. I think that they have, I'm going back. I'm jumping all over the place now, but I am worried about Deshaun still. I don't think that he is going to return to the form that everyone wants. Outside of that though, that team is pretty flawless when it comes to depth. So there's probably some value on them. I don't even know what their odds are. I can't do it in good faith, bet on it, but I understand people's logic.
They're at plus 400 to win the North.
That's really nice though. Shit. I might have to do it. All right. I might do it. All right.
Well, those are our questions. As Steph said at the beginning of the show, please like and subscribe. Also, check us out on all your podcast platforms, your preferred podcast platforms. Give us a 5-star rating there and a review. Steph and I will both be in Vegas next week for the Circa event there, the ultimate contest weekend, I think they're calling it.
Nailed it. Yep.
We'll be on their Radio Row, which will be very exciting. So if you're out there, please let us know and come to our booth.
Yes.
We're even going to have a custom tablecloth with. It's going to be very exciting. We're getting swag.
We're professional as fuck now. There's going to be swag. There's going to be stickers. Maybe a draft cheat sheet that I'm going to get laminated for people that come by. There's going to be good stuff there. And then we also have a show tomorrow. Since the birthday hangover lasted a little bit too long, doing back-to-back shows for you guys. Tomorrow, I'll be back 3 p.m. If you want a mock draft with us, send me a DM. I think I have 2 spots left. Dan Titus will be on. Ryan will be on. Who else do we got on? Sports. Who's coming?
Munaf Manji.
Yep. So we're going to do a whole mock draft. It's on Yahoo if you're interested. You can reply to this video even and that or DM me, but I appreciate everyone watching. Like, subscribe, review, leave a 1-star review. If you don't like it, that's okay. We want to hear it.
And then pop quiz. When do we go to our new schedule stuff?
We go to our new schedule when we get back from Vegas. So that is what?
The 28th.
20.
We'll be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time every week. And then we will also be doing live stream watch parties for your New York Giants.
Correct. It might get ugly there, but as always, appreciate everyone. We will see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern for a mock draft. See ya.
Stephie Smalls is the killer.